What is going on, everyone? My name's Jeffrey.
And my name's Cody, and this is the Audible Sportscast.
All right, Brett's with us again.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. We have week 3. It's already here. We got 2 weeks already down. Season's moving a little faster than I'm wanting it to. I'm not enjoying it as much as I want. But, let's talk about some games. Last week, Cody and I both we went 11-5 in the games, but let's see how we do this week. Let's talk about the Thursday night football game, Panthers Texans. Mills making his first NFL start, second round pick out of Stanford. How you guys think the game's gonna go?
I picked Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina's going to stomp them.
Panthers, after beating the Saints last week, they're looking really impressive. I'm still kind of seeing how Sam Darnold's going to play. He's been looking really good, and I think that's kind of their X factor of how good that team can be.
I just think the Texans have talent, but they're just a mess. I mean,
Old talent.
I would like to say worse statements than that, but I can't.
Yeah, well, probably for the best, but yeah, it's that Texans. The whole entire organization is just a mess right now.
Because Watson won't play, so it's now they lost Tyrod Taylor, who I still don't. I mean, he's older. He's old enough in his career where I don't consider him a threat too much, but he's a decent quarterback. But now they don't have good luck with backups in Houston. They really don't.
Yeah, no.
Go back to Drew Stanton and guys like that. Tom Savage.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He's been a backup like everywhere, so that doesn't really count.
Fair. But yeah, Panthers definitely have this one in the bag. All right, so next we got the Washington football team versus the Buffalo Bills. I think this is a pretty intriguing matchup.
Yeah, I'd say it's going to be the Bills, but it's going to be a good game. That Washington defense is pretty good. They're both pretty good, but I think the
I'm
Bills
on the
still
Heineke
come up.
bandwagon. I don't know why. I just don't. I'm going with Buffalo, but I want to go Redskins, but I can't.
I don't think this is their game.
Nope. Buffalo's just playing too well. They're playing too good. I mean, too good.
But the thing I'd want to keep an eye on is, we saw against the Steelers, Josh Allen kind of seemed a little off against that defensive line, and while Washington's isn't maybe as good as the Steelers, it's still pretty good. So if they can put some pressure on
That was game 1, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just you have to compare it to something. So
I mean, you can say, all the teams didn't play like they did week 1, or were supposed to.
it's still early in the season. There's a lot of these teams are still trying to figure themselves out. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Washington here. I think the Taylor Heineke train's gonna just keep on going. I'm all aboard it.
Did you see what Terry said about him?
Yeah.
Said he would like to keep playing with him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Doesn't want. Yeah, I mean that's their best receiver, so he says that's kind of a positive thing. And I don't think he's saying that just to fluff him up to make him feel better.
Well, even the defense wants him there.
Oh yeah, Chase Young in the offseason was saying some pretty good stuff about him, and he's like the leader of that team. He's the one kind of pre-game.
As much as we look at Fitzpatrick as a usable quarterback, I don't think teams see him that way anymore. He's got a ceiling, and a ceiling is maybe a wild card.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on how well Heineke plays in, and I think he's definitely earned that starting job. So it'll be interesting. But let's move on to the Chicago Bears going into Cleveland. Justin Fields' first NFL start in Ohio.
They're Browns.
Yeah.
I'm not. We don't really need to talk about this too much. Yeah, it's gonna be
You
the
know what?
Browns, but
I'll go the opposite. I'll root for the Bears. Since we're all Bears fans here, I will be the true fan and say the Bears.
I want, that Browns team, it's really good. I want to see.
they're gonna eat Fields' lunch.
I want to see how, if he steps up and
But the
comes to
Bears
play.
could eat Baker's lunch. So
I don't know.
And something I want to keep an eye on, though, on the Browns' offensive side of the ball is Odell is back. The Bears' secondary has had some troubles.
they play worse with Odell. Technically, if you go statistically, they play worse with him.
That's just, it'll be interesting to see how those matchups go. But let's move on to maybe a game that's even more one-sided: the Baltimore Ravens versus the Detroit Lions. Do the Lions have a chance at home?
No. That rush game's gonna murder them. Both Tyson Williams and Latavius Murray are gonna have probably over 100 yards. And Lamar, so it's gonna be probably a historic game.
Yeah, we saw, on Monday Night Football that the Lions were just getting torched by Aaron Jones on the ground.
I can't stop the dog, sorry.
But, yeah, the Ravens are going to run all over the Detroit Lions. How do you feel about that game, Brett?
I mean, it's obvious I go Baltimore, but I think the Lions are one of those teams where they always show up when they're not supposed to. Just like, we've played them so many times being a Bears fan that it's hard. You never know. You really never know with the NFL, but I'll still go Baltimore. I'm not super high in Baltimore, and it's not because of Lamar. I think they're lacking some talent in a lot of positions, but their coaching kind of hides that for them a little.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, with the amount of injuries that team has had, and to still pretty much, have them as one of the top teams in the NFL it's amazing.
Yep.
But let's move on to a AFC South matchup here. The Colts at the Tennessee Titans.
I'm going to give the Colts their first win on this one.
So, yeah, I don't know. The Colts have a good history against the Titans, but I don't know. Xavier Rhodes is coming back this week, so that's big. He's definitely the best corner on the team, so when they have him, there's a chance. But I have the Titans by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think just the Titans started to kind of figure themselves out in Seattle. If they're going to just continue to feed Derrick Henry, I mean, I know last year the Colts had a little bit of struggles stopping him in one of them. Even though Buckner wasn't in that game, he's going to be playing now. It's hard not to pick the Titans.
Well, you're talking about the game that the Colts are missing like 8% of their defense, so that's a pretty bad point.
I think Henry's going to continue this throughout the year, but I think he usually tapers down when he has a huge game like that. So that's why I went Indy. And I like the way Wentz played last week, and I don't even like Wentz, so that tells you something.
Yeah, and there's a chance he's gonna play, but that's the big reason why I have the Titans over.
I think he's gonna play.
Colts. Yeah,
he was walking. I look at it; he was walking just fine. Throw some athletic tape around your ankles. Let's go.
Yeah.
If not, get some shots for pain.
Have Autry
and some athletic
tape. Fall.
He's paid enough.
Yeah, have Autry fall on the other. They're on his ankles again.
Yeah, that'll be definitely something to look out for. After that injury, and Carson Wentz has not been treated well behind that offensive line. If now he's had an early injury, both his ankles. If that'll kind of maybe scare him a little bit in a sense of just kind of moving around.
It's not like a knee injury. It won't be that bad.
It's
knee injuries,
Lamar Jackson here, okay? He's just got to be able to sit in the pocket. But with his demeanor and what he's done so far, if he sits out, that won't shock me at all. But I think if he wants to, I'm not saying I know the severity of his injuries, but if he wants to play, he'll play. It's that simple.
Yeah, he does want to play, so I could see him. He's on the road to play, but it's not like set in stone.
They always make it look questionable until the last second.
But let's move on to the Chargers at the Chiefs. Both of these teams have been, looking pretty promising. Obviously, Chiefs, they're, back-to-back Super Bowl. How do you guys?
Chargers aren't there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the Chiefs in this game.
Yeah, I do too. I think it'll be a good game.
The only team in that conference or division that I have beating the Chiefs are the Raiders. I don't think the Chargers are at that point. I don't think they can.
But the Chargers I don't think are there yet. It's gonna. I feel like it'll be a pretty good game. Maybe Chargers can take it at home if their handful of fans can show up. But yeah, Chiefs definitely take this one at home.
I don't know if they can go score for score with the Chargers or the Chiefs. I mean, that's what I meant. The Chargers can't. I don't think they can. Maybe a year or two, but
yeah, they struggled with Washington, and the Chiefs are definitely a way better team than Washington. I like Washington, but Chiefs.
Yeah, but let's move on to a very interesting game. The New Orleans Saints head up to New England to face the Patriots.
I got New England.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a very tough one. I feel like this is going to be, it should be, good defensive game. Mac Jones against that Saints defense. Saints defense didn't look that well last week against Carolina, but Sean Payton's still a really good coach. They're going to bounce back, but it's New England.
It's a game plan. Maybe. Two well-coached teams, two subpar quarterbacks, and I'm only putting him as a subpar because he's rookie right now.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot to prove.
I could see Mac having a better day than Jameis Winston.
Oh, yeah.
Jameis has got the talent, but will he do it? That's the key.
No, I don't see it. He might, but
it'll be interesting to see kind of how both these run games go too. Damian Harris has been playing really well so far this season, and we all know what Alvin Kamara is capable of doing. So I feel like this game can definitely be a good run game for both these teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see the Patriots winning this one out. All right, so next up we have probably the most exciting game of the entire week: the Atlanta Falcons versus the New York Giants. How do you guys feel about the game?
Well, I think the Giants' offense is going to carve them up. Sterling Shepard, he's looking really good out of the slot. Past 2 weeks, he's had over 100 yards, touchdown. I think he had a touchdown last week. I know he did in week 1, but yeah, they're just performing well. And that's a horrible defense, probably the worst one in the NFL, and I think the Giants are just going to carve them up.
Oh, yeah.
I think Atlanta's a horrible team.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I think it's like a 35-28 game. Giants.
Yeah.
They both can score points. I think there's going to be turnovers on both sides.
That Falcons team doesn't impress me at all.
I don't know what they're doing, to be honest. Cordell Patterson plays a lot. Matt Ryan plays a lot. Like, what are you doing?
They're doing the same stuff they've done for years, just being low-tier team quality.
It's time for them to just let go everybody and start from scratch.
Well,
Which
they can't get rid of Matt Ryan. That's why. I understand why they kept him, but doesn't mean he has to play.
Yeah, well, if they're paying someone that much money, you would at least expect him to play.
What, to not win?
I mean, they're not going to win if he starts or doesn't play.
Yeah, and you're right. We talked about this last week, but they have no backups to start that are young, so not worth anything.
Josh Rosen. He's their backup.
I know.
I feel bad for him in so many levels because he can actually make ridiculous throws, and the people turn their head the other way. It's pretty sad. Like if Patrick Mahomes,
it happens every once in a while. That quarterbacks they just get kind of screwed up because nobody has faith in him. He's been shuffled around so many times now.
Yeah, he came into the Cardinals organization when they were a complete mess, and it's haunted him since.
Went to Miami, never got a fair shake. Went to the Niners, never got a fair shake.
Hopefully, maybe he'll start a couple games, maybe win them in Atlanta. Who knows?
Not unless Matt Ryan gets hurt.
Well, or they just bench him, or he sits out.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
They love Matty Ice too much.
But let's move on to a pretty interesting game. The Cincinnati Bengals going to Pittsburgh against the Steelers. I'm going to take Cincinnati here.
I'm gonna take the Steelers. I know that offense is a mess. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about. I think, yeah,
Ben's hurt.
there's a chance.
Right now.
Yeah.
TJ's going through some stuff.
He's questionable, but I bet you he plays. He always plays.
Yeah, I take that back. Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It might be ugly. It might be ugly, but I think Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, that game last year was pretty. I mean, Cincinnati ended up winning against them last year, and that was without Burrow. So and Burrow's just coming off not a good game. He's going to go back out there, work, and figure out what they did wrong against Chicago. And yeah, this is.
He doesn't seem too affected by all the interceptions he throws, though.
Yeah.
Not really.
I mean, hey, he's Joe Cool.
Matty Ice and Joe Cool, great.
But yeah, you said Cincinnati for you too, Brett.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we all agree on this one.
Yeah, it'll be a good game though. I'm still, that Steelers offense it's worrisome, especially with Big Ben hurt. Just
Dante Johnson's hurt.
All right, next up we got the Arizona Cardinals heading down to Jacksonville to face the very good Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, we know how this is going to go. Lawrence is going to throw another 3 picks. He's on pace to beat Peyton Manning's record.
Hey, if that's anything, maybe it's a good way to start your career.
Maybe,
yeah,
but
it could be.
If you got Arizona's defense in fantasy, you're solid.
Do you guys think Urban Meyer will take the USC job at halftime, or?
I don't know. Part of me thinks he wants to excel in the NFL because he wants to prove that he can.
I don't know if you saw the quote that Vic Fangio said, that Urban Meyer said it was pretty much that an NFL game is pretty much like having Alabama every week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's definitely a change in everything.
I think Alabama gets more views than the Jaguars do.
Probably.
I don't even think that's a probably. If we looked it up, it's probably not. It's probably true, for sure. Because
that's
a nationally televised game.
Yeah, that's probably why Alabama will never have an NFL team is because of Alabama school.
I mean, with how many good players
both of them.
from there, pretty much NFL teams.
Auburn and Alabama, the 2 teams. And I don't think the NFL ever wants. I don't think any pro team wants to go to Alabama in any sport.
No, they wouldn't. Yeah, they wouldn't get the fan base because everyone's going to be hungover after the Alabama game on Saturdays.
Roll Tide.
But yeah, Arizona Cardinals definitely take this one. Not much to talk about. So next up, the New York Football Jets versus going down to Denver to face the Broncos, or going over to face the Broncos.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree. Broncos.
Broncos have the easiest first half of their schedule, and that's kind of why I like Teddy Bridgewater, because he acknowledged it and was like, Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
So,
he's a humble dude.
oh, I
Always
love
kinda has
Teddy.
been.
Well, I think his injuries humbled him even more.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and sitting behind Sam, or I guess you traded him away before Sam Darnold was really named the starter, but behind Drew Brees and the injury definitely.
I don't think anyone has a lot of faith in him as a starter except himself.
Well, I mean, Vic Fangio does. If he named, they named him the starter over Drew Lock.
No, that's not saying a whole lot.
Yeah, yeah. It's I want to see how Zach Wilson plays against that Broncos defense too.
I think we've seen enough.
I just feel bad for anyone who gets drafted by the Jets right at this point in time. The last few years, it's so bad.
I'd say for like 30 years.
No, you could go back to Mark Sanchez took them into the playoffs pretty deep a few times because of their defense and their run game.
Yeah, I do take that back, actually. I remember, this is when I was in middle school. What team was
Thomas
that?
Jones and
Geno Smith almost took him to the playoffs one year.
And then
they
then
killed
lost
the
to
Colts.
And then they went and picked up LT after they dumped Thomas Jones. That was a different team, though.
Oh, yeah.
Completely. That was when Revis was in his lockdown mode,
Yeah, and Rex
And you
Ryan
had
went to go
Cromartie.
get some damn snacks.
Well, yeah, that's the Jets' problem. They'll be like that, and then like a complete like reset team the next year, and then be like that for like ever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll have some promising players, and they just don't keep them, or bad coaching. And,
Or they won out.
yeah, Broncos. That's a Broncos win. Next up, we have Jacoby Brissett and the Miami Dolphins heading over to Las Vegas to face the Raiders.
We know Cody's answer.
I don't. That Raiders defense is gonna embarrass Jacoby.
I don't think it matters who the Dolphins start. I think the Raiders win. Either way.
Yeah.
Another game in that stadium with the fans. That place is nice.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the Raiders play to their opponents a little bit, and I think the Raiders will have a few turnovers, but they'll still win by a few touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that's how they always played. When they play someone they should crush, they don't always crush them. They beat them, but not like they should.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you saw that a lot last year when it took a last-second touchdown to beat the Jets because they pretty much all out-blitzed them for some reason. But yeah, sometimes they do definitely kind of play down a level. But I think this is definitely a game that I don't think you'll see that. I don't think. I mean, who knows? Maybe Brissett has some all of a sudden comeback quarterback type stuff in him, but no, I don't see it. I think this is a Raiders win all the way. But next up, we have potential NFC Championship game in the future. The Tampa Bay Bucks going into LA to face the Rams. I think this might be the game of the week.
This should be a good game. I got the Rams because Atlanta almost came back on the Bucks until Matt Ryan threw 2 pick sixes.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I think it's going to depend on the defensive lines. Whoever wins that battle.
Oh, yeah, this game will definitely be one of the trenches. I mean, you're looking at 2 really good D-lines, 2 really good O-lines. So
I can't go against TB12. I can't do it. This is a really big game for Matt Stafford. I feel like, it's at home. They're, slowly starting to figure themselves out. He's getting a lot of connection. We saw that definitely. We've seen it so far with Cooper Kupp. That Bucks secondary,
it's kind of looked iffy at times. I'm going Rams here.
Because I tell you how it's going to be is they're going to focus on Cup since he went off, had like a historic game last week against the Colts, and Robert Woods is going to come out and it's going to be his week.
Yeah, definitely.
And then that young
but
Jefferson guy.
it's the tough call because they both have like the most weapons in the NFL. Pretty much. I mean, Brady has a few more because I would say the tight end position is where you get the more pieces for him.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be close.
Oh yeah, it should be a very, very fun game to watch.
I think it's whoever gets pressured. I mean, if Aaron Donald does Aaron Donald like he's been doing lately, Brady's gonna have trouble. But you could flip it around and say the same thing for the Bucs D-line.
Yeah.
So I have to go with the Bucs. I can't go against Brady.
I can see the Bucs win it, but yeah, definitely Rams. I got the Rams. But let's move on to next game. You got the Seattle Seahawks going into Minnesota against the Vikings. Do the Vikings start 0-3 on the season?
No.
They have a chance to win this game.
It depends on what Russell Wilson shows up.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I don't know. I like Minnesota in this game. Dalvin Cook's been playing real good.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup for me. I mean, you know what, both of these teams are kind of capable of. Both high scoring offenses. Seattle's defense has looked, iffy, especially last week against Tennessee.
Well, I agree with Brett saying it depends on Russell Wilson because he's playing real great like he always does in the first half of the season, but that last half of that game against the Titans, that offense fell apart.
Yep. He hasn't really been the same Russell Wilson since the Legion of Boom went to crap because he's had to carry that team. Because their defense hasn't been the same since then. It's been okay. Never been an elite defense.
He showed the frustration before the season started, but he's too nice of a guy to make a real big deal out of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. He should have asked for the trade, in my opinion. But
yeah,
he didn't want to upset people.
The Bears fan in me
I'm sorry,
definitely
guys.
would have wanted that, but because the Bears were.
And then Sam Darnold probably would have went to the Seahawks. Because Pete Carroll likes him. That's an alternate universe now.
Oh yeah, that's a what if. But yeah, I'm gonna go Seahawks here. I think Russell Wilson. Well, I think he's gonna have a really good game.
What if Kirk Cousins comes out fired up?
He can come up fired up if he wants, but
I think it's going to be close like the last two games have been for Minnesota, but I think they're going to continue the streak and lose.
You think they're going to lose?
I got the Vikings winning. So
who knows? Maybe
Vikings by 7.
Maybe it'll come down to another game-winning field goal. Next up, we got the Sunday Night Football game. We got Packers going in to play the 49ers. How do you all think this game's going to go?
It should be an exciting game, but it's both teams are playing crap. Disgusting to me.
Same.
Yeah. This is a tough one.
The next game after this even tougher.
Yeah,
I think
we'll cross that bridge. But go on, Cody. Sorry.
I think it'll be San Fran. Yeah, they're both. Green Bay has a horror defense, but Aaron Rodgers got a lot of hits. He got hit a lot against the Lions, and I think that 49ers defensive line's gonna get in there and clean his clock a few times.
Definitely. That's kind of been the the difference for some of these 49ers games is that
Deep.
front seven is, kept them in a lot of games.
Deebo Samuel's going nuts.
Oh, yeah.
He's first in every receiving stat. Yeah, I got the Niners.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Rodgers. I gotta pick, and I hate picking the Packers. It's a hard thing for me to do, but I just look at it. If you go shot for shot, Jimmy G and Aaron Rodgers, that's the way I look at it. That's what it comes down to. But Aaron Rodgers is a hot mess. He should shave his head, for one. He looks older than me.
Get some hair dye in there.
He just looks old. He looks like he's Tom Brady's dad.
Yeah.
And the only thing is I worry about, he's complaining about people, talking about him, attacking him. It could go one of two ways, but I think Rodgers usually wins that when he plays. He comes out firing. So, but just because he's on point doesn't mean his receivers are.
Yeah, it's going to be a game I'm watching closely.
Oh, yeah.
High-scoring game, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But, yeah, I think 49ers will win this at home. But, yeah, definitely it'll be...
Aaron Rodgers is at home, too.
Yeah, well, last time they were over there wasn't too good. But, all right, for the final game, we have on Monday Night Football, we got Eagles-Cowboys, old school NFC East divisional rivalry.
I like this game.
I think it'll be a fun game.
Can it be a tie? Just kidding.
I mean, if you want to say it's a tie, and go for it.
No, that's like the biggest gamble ever. No way.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been kind of going back and forth on this game. But that Cowboys defense, every time I say, it's not going to be doing good and whatnot, it proves me wrong. It plays way better than I think it will. And, of course, now that I say that, it might go opposite.
Dan Quinn.
Oh, yeah. People kind of forget that he was...
Not a good head coach, but a good coordinator.
Yeah.
Well, then you got the Eagles looking good somehow. And it's just
They just lost one of their best pass rushers, though.
Brandon Graham.
Oh, crap, yeah, they did.
And Fletcher Cox has kind of been muted a little bit this year.
Yeah. I like the Cowboys in this game.
Yeah,
I agree.
I got to take Cowboys at home.
Dak's just coming out firing. He has just energy with him. And I wish Zeke had it, because I think Dallas would be pretty dang good if Zeke was playing good. No offense to Tony Pollard, but...
Well, yeah, and even if,
If they had a Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt duo type.
That's kind of what it's feeling like it might be this year a couple times. That they can pass it. We saw that week 1.
Their offensive line is playing better than you would think. At least in the run game. Maybe not pass protection, but in the run game.
Yeah.
I hold the Cowboys line to a very high standard, so I don't think they're meeting my standard, but they're playing pretty good for they get the job done, I guess.
I meant for compared to week 1 to last week, kind of.
Yeah.
I saw an
I see
improvement.
what you're saying now.
Because they started out, maybe it was because of week 1, but they started out really bad. He was getting hit.
Zach Martin
They couldn't block.
Zach Martin wasn't playing that game either.
Yeah, but they're still running some mediocre guys in with those aging Pro Bowlers.
Well, they were missing 2 linemen last week, weren't they?
Yep.
And they played better against...
Yeah, they were down to their 3rd string right tackle. I forgot about that.
Because they played better.
Well, because La'el Collins is suspended.
And then I can't think of who the player was going to play for La'el Collins, but he did not play either.
It was that Fleming, I think.
I'm not sure if he's still around there.
I don't know.
But, yeah, I think Cowboys have this one. Eagles looked good against the 49ers, but they're just not the best play calling that kind of, I feel like, lost them the game. There were some 4th downs in the red zone that maybe they shouldn't have went for. Should have taken the points, but...
Hey, that sounds like the Colts.
I don't know. The NFC East to me has always been that division that you make the playoffs at 9-7 or 8-8 sometimes. Just that's the way the cookie crumbles there.
Yeah.
So I mean that's, I don't know. Maybe every division's like that, but I feel like that division's the most clumped together usually out of all of them.
Well, yeah, they have a different winner every year. I don't think they've had a consistent team win it 2 years in a row in a very long time.
Because even when Romo was in Dallas, that's when Eli was around. So.
Yep, and then you had Nick Foles win it 1 year before he came back, I believe. They won it, the division. But yeah, that's they don't call it the NFC least.
It's my least favorite division too.
Yeah, it's old historic division, but
I don't know how they got a Monday night game. Jerry Jones must have paid a bunch of people.
I mean, Cowboys always have a lot of prime time games. A lot of times they consider that
it shouldn't be like that. It should be by winning.
Week as a prime time game, but they always do.
Yeah, that's why I hate the Thursday night games. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Packers, get a lot too because them and Dallas they fight for America's team, essentially.
Yeah, sometimes they just
whether they're bad or not.
Those fan bases sometimes.
They are the two most popular teams in the NFL. You can't deny that.
They listed the 3 most snubbed teams for primetime games, and it's the Bills, the Colts, and God, there's another team. I can't think of what they are, but good teams, usually good teams that never get primetime or one primetime game.
Blame the Bills fan base. They don't want to see that on national TV. People having sex in the parking lot, smashing tables.
Yeah, they're wild.
Yeah, the Bills Mafia is something else. But
hashtag Bills Mafia if you're listening.
And that leads us perfectly into our next segment of our Add a Legend. So, for those of you who are new, we look at every NFL team and we look at a player who used to play for a team back in the day, and we try to find someone who will make that team a lot better to win a Super Bowl. And at the end, we're going to, pretty much pick a Super Bowl legend winner type thing. But this week, we have the Buffalo Bills. Cody, legends that have ever played in Buffalo. Who do you think gives them the best shot to win a Super Bowl?
Well, I'll tell you who, one of the best running backs of all time. He literally killed people. And O.J. Simpson. Yeah, he's got one of the best portfolios for a running back ever. And we know if you watch the Bills ever, their run game's not very good, even though they're supposed to have 2 really good running backs. Well, they never really, like Zach Moss and Singletary, they never really.
Yeah, they look good in fantasy points-wise, but they're not. It's not really what it looks like in the game.
Oh, yeah.
No.
And people forget that, when people think of O.J. Simpson, they just think of his after-football life.
That's actually a team. If I was Buffalo, I'd make a move for Zeke.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He can catch.
Kind of like Marshawn going from the Bills to Seattle. And he just takes off.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Well, he was behind Fred Taylor in Buffalo, so that Fred Taylor at the time was a better running back.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
But O.J. Simpson.
Oh,
go ahead,
Cody.
Sorry.
But O.J. Simpson on this team, yeah, it's just
that's
crazy.
Yeah, that's
Super Bowl probably.
It would be. Yep.
You definitely wear the gloves, and they'd fit real nice.
I'm going to switch to the other side of the ball, and I'm going to pick somebody that you're probably not even going to guess. I'm going to pick a vintage Mario Williams on the edge.
Okay.
You take him in his first couple years, first couple years in Buffalo, he was a beast.
Oh, yeah.
Does he have the red contacts in?
I was about to ask that. That's
Sure.
definitely a factor.
Hyping up the Bills Mafia.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just don't feel like they have an edge presence at all. Not really.
It's not much of one, that's for sure. I mean, they drafted the defensive tackle out of Houston, who's I can't think
They
of-
make it work,
yeah.
but
I mean, yeah, that defense is good, but I feel like adding a Mario Williams definitely gives them an added boost that makes them real good. But
I mean, if
Are you
we could
going
say
different?
it. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
oh, well, I agreed with you a little bit on where to add someone, but I went a little farther back, and when you look at when you look at a defensive lineman, it's hard not to pick someone who has the most sacks in NFL history.
Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith.
I knew it.
He was kind of the cornerstone of that defense in the 90s. But yeah, I mean, when you have 200 sacks, you're a two-time defensive player of the year. You that's pretty good. And he would make that defense so much better.
I forgot he even existed.
Don't let the Bills Mafia hear you say that.
If we could pick a GM, I would, non-player, pick Bill Polian to put that roster together a little better. He'd get a running back for sure.
Yo, what's crazy is
know-
Bruce Smith played in like the early 2000s too, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
he played for Washington for 4 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. He came in the league in '85.
Oh, yeah.
It's just weird to think about for a defensive end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is weird.
All right, that's all we have for you. Make sure to follow us on social media, Instagram, Audible Sportscast, Twitter, Audible SC, and then Facebook. We have a Facebook group at Audible Sportscast.
Yeah, and if you ever want to come on, just let us know. Hit us in the DM. We'll get you on here and send you an invite and be set.
Well, we need you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. Just smash that like button, please.
Oh yeah, make sure you share it out. Tell all your friends, family about us.
That's all I got.
Till next time.
Thanks for having me again. See you later.